Hi, this is Joseph Tan here from GoodMonday.com. Today's focus will be on the principle of rightful authority. How do we work with authority structures in order to have leadership influence? This may sound a little bit strange, but in order to have leadership influence, we can only choose one leader at a time. Being a leader involves practicing the character quality of availability. Availability is making my own schedule and priorities secondary to the wishes of those I serve. Now, serving other people and making our time and resources available, it's one thing, but how do we ensure that our availability is directed in a proper way? Now, that involves a personal commitment to follow only one leader. It is impossible to serve more than one leader. Think about it. Accountability requires single reporting. That although in today's environment there is this thing called matrix reporting, yet despite the fact that you may have so-called several bosses and you are responsible for multiple key performance indicators, yet you still need a common point of verification. Because if you report to too many leaders, multiple personalities create conflict of interest. So you may have variable responsibility, but at the end of the day, you still need a single reporting person. So if you find yourself having to report to too many people with conflicting goals, that is not going to create an environment of leadership influence for you in the long term. You need to be able to find out who is the main voice that is driving your overall responsibility. Number two, it is impossible to serve more than one leader because if you think about leadership in the long term, leadership involves leadership succession. So how are you going to be able to transfer the leadership baton from one generation to another generation, from one leader to another leader, if there are multiple leaders that are involved? You see, the transfer of values happen from person to person. So if the line of reporting is not clear, the line of succession is not clear as well. Furthermore, if there is a clear reporting structure and the authority structure is clear, it also facilitates mentoring and life learning. So a single loyalty structure enables successful succession planning. It's also impossible to serve more than one leader because if we have too many leadership layers and bureaucracy, it breeds complacency. It is everybody else's job to do what everybody else is supposed to do. There is no one rising up to take responsibility and to say that the buck stops here. So if you are looking at promoting initiative in the organization, well, look for single leadership. It takes one person to rise up to make or break the situation. So if we have a person who is solely responsible for a particular task, this promotes personal ownership rather than just corporate awareness. So never put a group name or just a certain awareness statement to getting certain things done. It must boil down to the individual at the end of the day. So the character quality of availability says that we must make our schedule and priority secondary to the wishes of those I serve. Now we're going to take a step back and see what is it that makes availability possible. You see, you can't just make yourself available to everyone that comes along your way. Number one, you need to realize who your reporting structure is, or who is the single person you need to report to. And if you find yourself having to report to too many persons, you will find that your availability is stretched, because true accountability balances availability, and accountability requires single reporting. Number two, by knowing who your one leader is, it promotes loyalty, because in order for leadership succession to take place, you need to have a clear line of leadership. You can't have multiple leadership reporting structure. And number 3, having single leadership reporting promotes initiative, because at the end of the day you could attach a name to that responsibility. So how do we create a structure that is effective in the organization, a structure where there is effective people influence? You must have only one leader. Do not create confusion by having too many matrix reporting structures. And even if you do have a matrix reporting structure, the responsibility must start and end with one name. Everything rise and fall on leadership, and it must be that single person who would be accountable for his or her actions. So think about it. In order to have effective people influence, you cannot serve more than 2 leaders at any one time. Choose one. Make sure you choose the correct one. Think about it. This is Joseph Tan here from GoodMonday.com.